And we are live. Hello, Pandem.Mic. This is Pandem.Mic Live with your co-hosts, DJ Cherish The Luv and myself, Carrie Beehan. DJ Cherish, unmute that mic and say hello to the world.
Thank you for the permission to speak. Hello, world. Hello, hello, hello.
Well, now you've got permission. Take it from there.
What am I supposed to say?
Well, we can talk about we're going to fight the elimination of systemic racism. We're going to start
Today,
with that.
yeah, we are gathering here today to help fight systemic racism while protecting ourselves from this deadly virus that is still happening. I don't think it's going away anytime soon. Pandem.Mic commits to creating space for artists of all backgrounds to find community and solace amidst the struggle. We stand in solidarity with the Black members of our community and strive for continued self-education and anti-racist action. Tonight we have some very cool artists, so let's jump straight in with...
Well, we're almost going to jump straight in because I'm going to sideline a little quickly. DJ Cherish The Luv has the most amazing dog in the world, quite famous, actually has its own Facebook page.
Yes,
and she's got artificial limbs or artificial metal inside her, and she had a wee accident yesterday. So we're just doing a quick check-in first because Tonka's a big part of our entourage. How is she?
She's limping, but she's like, her spirit is good. She's limping, she's digging in the dirt, but she's a little bit broken right now, so therefore I am too.
I'm sorry. It's when our pet friends are so important, and pet adoption's gone up hundreds of % since we've all been home. So
yes.
We're sending her loving vibes. She's a big part of this family. So now we're going to head to the artists, but the dogs came first. I'm sorry. It's just how it happened.
Wait, where's Cleopatra?
Cleo's over in the corner sulking. Cleo, for those who don't know, Cleo's my dog, my rescue dog, and she sulks during Pandem.Mic and she sulks during AITQR mic. And it's generally because some of the artists here tonight, especially Bonnie Stein, who's up in our far right corner gallery, they normally feed her treats and she can hear their voices and she freaks out because I don't give them the same treats. So it really is a dog's world at the moment. Our first artist is dogless, but she's learnt to love dogs. Her mother's had a few. She's begrudgingly learnt to love dogs, and she's actually really nice to mine, so we let her on the show. Kike van Kloek, that's with an umlaut, a German umlaut on the U. Okay, now, Kike was born in Brazil during the military dictatorship. And while growing up, she had to learn how to make good use of metaphors and symbolic language because of the dangers that surrounded the country at the time. This led to her eventually developing live art performance lectures and actions based on feminist archaeology and comparative mythology. She now works as a brand strategist and technology trend and innovator researcher. Kika, your father still lives in Brazil. You and your mother live here. You came here in 1992. Your father lives in the outskirts of a city, and he has a small piece of land that he actually is very self-sufficient on. He grows his own vegetables. He carves. He makes the most astonishing stone jewelry. He's always been a bit of a hippie, an amazing artist. And currently he's come up against some pretty heavy stuff with his local town council. And I wanted you to touch base with us on the situation in Brazil at the moment. For those that don't know, Brazil has 211 million people. America has about 260 million. Brazil is the 5th largest nation in the world. And it's really going through it. It's supposedly a middle income, upper scale country, supposedly on an economics level. And things have changed so drastically over the last few years. So Kika, enlighten us.
First of all, I would like to thank you for allowing me to be here and all of us together and to be able to partake a little bit of all of our experiences. I'm also grateful that you did a lot of research on the subject of Brazil. When I arrived here, people used to think that our capital was Buenos Aires, which I always said, yes, sure, of course it is. My father lives in the outskirts of São Paulo, which is not the capital. The capital is Brasilia. But São Paulo was the first epicenter of South America during the pandemic. The city of São Paulo is getting a little better right now, as New York is. But where my father is, which is an hour away by train, it's getting worse. The outskirts, the suburbs are getting worse, exactly because we have no leadership. And like the governor and the mayor of Sao Paulo and try to do the right thing, but they are running against the federal government, exactly like what's happening here. We are imitating a lot of the walking on the footsteps of what's happening in America. And in specifically my father's town, it's split. Some of the people in power are very favorable to the lockdowns, and some other people are forcing commerce to remain open. Most of the people need to go into São Paulo, so they take very full trains every day still. They need to work, they need to keep going because they had emergency checks, supposedly not checks, actually people would have to go to the bank to get their emergency money. And there are all sorts of reasons why the great majority of people cannot get that money yet. So people resorted to continue to work. So that's why a lot of the situation is continuing to go bad. My father has it's not a big piece of land. It's very small actually, but somehow my grandfather was able to fit in 53 banana trees, 48 guava trees. I don't know how many avocado trees. And so they are, if anything fails, they can eat avocado and bananas. But and now my father's wife, my stepmother, I can say, she decided to harvest coffee because my father said, I don't have time to harvest coffee. It's too much work to roast it and all that. And she was like, no, I'm gonna roast. And they just told me today they gave a whole bunch of coffee to their neighbor who will roast it for their personal use. They also got a random chicken that just walked into the house and now it's laying eggs in the kitchen. So with that said, my father was working on the land while the pandemic was going on. He was trying to get to his jewelry when a truck hit the front of his property and destroyed the electricity pole outside. So he had to deal with no water and no electricity for a while in the middle of a pandemic. And he had to walk to the factory whose truck hit his house, and it was a cinder block factory. And so he had to go physically there and talk to the owner and appeal to to the Bible right by the owner's side, saying, well, God is watching. We got to help each other here. And finally, the guy helped put up another electricity pole, and the neighbors actually helped my father pull electricity from their house until the pole was ready. And after that, he found out when the truck hit, his water pipes had broken. So now he's cutting pipes and fixing that part by himself.
Wow.
So yeah,
it's ingenious.
It's a journey, but a lot of people, like you said, it's an up and coming society. We have different sorts of middle class. We don't have like rich, middle class, and poor. We have different layers of middle class. So there is the miserable, then the poor, and then middle class D, middle class E, middle class C, So it's really interesting to see the dynamics of I can say it's a class divided society in terms that almost it's a caste kind of a situation.
And if I could jump in here, whether you want to come from a more wide spectrum response or your own personal response, but your man has got COVID.
Yes, and I mean, a lot of people believe this is
I can't pronounce his name, so you're going to have to do it for me.
Jair Bolsonaro. Yes, he's a piece of work. A lot of people believe this is a plot to sell hydroxychloroquine because he already alleged that he's taken it and he's feeling much better. And they bought an immense amount of chloroquine from the United States, and they ordered the army in Brazil to produce a humongous amount as well. And so they are trying to get rid of these pills. All conspiracy theories, like nobody knows exactly if he is, if he's not. A few months ago, he refused to show the tests. Now he's coming back saying he has it, but he's feeling better. So it's a strange situation. A huge amount of the population don't believe in that they can get it. They think it's only young people who can get it. They believe in isolating. They believe in vertical isolation, right? Isolating elderly people. They still do. But in Brazil, it's impossible because a lot of grandkids live with their grandparents. The families live in small houses. It's impossible to isolate everybody. So,
and is there a market shortage now? Would you say there's a market shortage of certain basics? Has that extended yet to Brazil? Is Brazil suffering on that level?
Not yet. Some things, but not enough for the population to have a need. The shortages might come. There was a huge wave of locusts coming from Argentina. To hit Brazil, and then there was a bomb cyclone that deviated the locusts somewhere else. So for a week and a half or two, everybody was talking about the locusts, and then there was a cyclone, and so the locusts decided to go somewhere else. But so that was a huge problem because we are one of the biggest soy producers in the world.
Right.
Especially in the south of Brazil, where the locusts were supposed to hit. And if they hit those areas, like the south of Brazil is like California, the food producing niche of the country, that would have been a big problem. But so far, there are water shortages, though. Water and electricity shortages in major cities. And even people who are affluent, my family is not affluent, but they are okay. My friends are okay with money still, even though a lot of people lost their jobs, but they still had some kind of savings. They go without electricity for like 2 days,
Right.
or water. They can't really wash dishes. They have to choose the days they have to shower. It's very weird. But there is a huge problem with water right now. They just passed laws to privatize the water in Brazil.
Privatize the water completely.
Yes, they just passed the law last week to privatize, to allow privatization.
Kika, you're a performance artist, and you and I have worked together a lot on varying performance art projects. And when I hear something as powerful as water in a specific country being completely privatized, I feel that with your visual and movement abilities that there could be a very strong performance piece coming out of this. So I hope you work on something for us because we'd like to see that on Pandem.Mic.
Thank you.
We co-host DJ Cherish The Luv.
Thank you.
Water shortage, it's terrifying. When you've experienced water shortage on any level, you really understand that without it, we're screwed. And the fact that they can privatize it the way they did in Mexico for the avocado farming and everywhere else, my goodness, that's really hard. Just switching over to your performance concepts, would you say that what you've experienced during your years in New York, but responding to what's been going on with your own family and friends and circles in Brazil. Have you ever incorporated this into your performance artwork or brought this cycle over to us in New York?
I have done a few pieces that are based on exactly water goddesses from the native Brazilian community and mythology. But in New York, I like to syncretize, I like the mingling of cultures here. I have done only locally, what do you call, like when you just have the camera as an audience, I
Right,
have
right.
people, it's not live action in those cases. I've done pieces on the East River here and mixing fire and water, and the police showed up and they asked, what are you doing? I said, oh, a pagan ritual, would you like to participate? I'm like, no, thank you very much. And they left us alone.
Let's just repeat that, a few pagan rituals. Kika, okay,
I
so
think
Kika,
I'm going to use that line from now
yeah,
on when I want someone to leave me
right.
alone. Hey, what are you doing? Pagan ritual? Want to join? Oh, no.
So
It works
Kika,
every time.
we would love, I mean, I've actually performed with you quite often as you've been doing rituals, so let's pull out some of that old performance film for next time, but we would like to see some of your pagan rituals on Pandem.Mic, right, Cynthia? So, yeah, so think about
Please.
that. Kika, thank you.
Thank
Stay
you
with
very
us,
much.
please. We're going to intermingle, as you put it. Our next guest is on his way. He's our glitter bomber, and he's running 15 minutes late because glitter bombers tend to do that. So while we're waiting for him to arrive, he's been texting me saying, I'm coming. I'm going to hand this over to our co-host, DJ Cherish The Luv, because we have no idea what she's going to bring to the table tonight, but let me tell you a little bit about her. All right. DJ Cherish The Luv is a Bose professional DJ for Netflix, MTV, Food Network, and more. She's a music missionary, artist, and educator. She is one of the few DJs ever allowed inside Rikers Island with full gear and contraband cables. She's an ordained minister, a breast cancer double mastectomy survivor, a published author, and she got her DJ name from the co-founder of, and Cynthia, you're going to say his name because I don't get
The Jizza.
Say it again.
The Jizza.
Can you tell us how you got your name from him and then take it away?
Oh, yeah. I was doing work with TEDx Teen. Ooh, many years ago. Is that 8 years ago, 7 years ago, something like that. And I was volunteering, and he came, sat next to me. He's one of the founding artists in Wu-Tang Clan. And I just started, chit-chatting with him. At the time, I was DJing under a completely different name, DJ Artista, because I used to paint and DJ at the same time because I can't just do one thing. So I look back and I'm looking at videos of me literally painting and DJing and painting. And I'm like, what was I thinking? And I was so blown away by what he was presenting, which was his youth, his teens, called Science Geniuses. And they were up on stage rapping about science and math. And his program basically is like, youth can learn so much more when they rap or sing about it than just reading. And I was just so blown away. I was so moved by how these young folk were being so brilliant on stage. And I just told myself, I need to get on stage. I think I have some kind of message or something that I need to share. And, coffee shops are great, but I think I need to do more public speaking and all of that. I am at a TED Talk event, and all of it was coming to be presented in front of me as something I could access to. So I sat there and I asked the Jizza, do you get stage fright? And he looked at me like, I can't believe you're asking me this question, because he's a like seasoned professional performer. And he said, yeah, I do. And I needed to hear that. It was like, I always feel like this kind of like not good enough feeling like an amateur thing holds us back from so much as artists. But then you speak to someone who's been doing it 30 years and they're like in the same place you are, just more gigs. more gigs and more pay over history. So I needed to hear that. And I just felt like, my God, I need to reinvent myself. I need to go out as a different kind of music mixer, DJ professional. And I was sitting there and I introduced myself to him, told him my name's Cynthia Cherish Malloran. We chit-chatted, exchanged info. And I sat there, and as they were leaving, I thought to myself, I need to get a new name. I need to just reinvent myself, the whole thing. And I said to myself, what's my name going to be? And as I'm saying that in my head, he shouts out from across the room, Cherish the Luv, because he was waving bye to me. And I thought, I think I just got my DJ name. Cherish the Luv. Oh my God, that's my middle name.
That's how it happened.
That's how it happened. Wow. So I'm thinking, how brilliant, because that's Cherish is the name my mom gave me after the association song that goes, cherish is the word I use to describe. So I'm named after a song. My uncle named me Cynthia. Whole long story about that too, which is another amazing story. So I'm going home and I'm like, I have to claim this. I'm DJ Cherish the Luv now. I go to Twitter. I register at DJ Cherish the Luv, love spelled L-O-V. Perfect. I go to Instagram, try to register it. It's one letter too long. So I have to change L-O-V-E to L-U-V. And that's how my whole branding came about.
That is
so interesting. Story. Yeah, I mean, the story behind a lot of us as artists, we flourish when we find our name.
Right.
When we create that persona. Because it's a lot to commit to being, I am just me. And this is just, we're so creative. There's so many pieces and aspects to us, which is why I love that society is embracing and just utilizing they as a pronoun now. My version of why I love that for myself, and it's new to me, but the feeling is not new to me. It's lifelong, because and it's less about orientation and gender. For me, it's about, I've always known since I was a kid, I'm not just me. There's like more souls in me swirling. Mm-hmm. But I could never put that to words, and I never understood what that could be about until later on in life when I talked to my mom about, us as a family. And she told us, and we all are hearing this for the first time, my siblings and I, that she had 2 miscarriages before me. And I felt like that makes so much sense. I feel like I carry the burden of the potential and the love that was 2 other individuals before me. And what I've seen
this before.
I felt this since I was a kid. I knew there was more than just me. And why am I doing so many things at the same time? Why am I this octopus? Why am I multifaceted, so much more than I need to be? And I realized it's all part of me, because at the very least, all of that spiritual potential and the love my parents had that didn't get to be executed lifelong for 2 individuals that came before me, their essence is a part of me. Therefore, I am they. So when that came to me, and I was like, that really feels just right. How could anyone hate that?
How could anybody hate that?
How could anyone hate that?
No, it's actually so very appealing, and it helps. Or else you take the strategy of Rumi, the Persian poet, that warned us all that 15 or so personalities are going to turn up in our world, and the best thing we can do is simply just open the door, ask which one it is, and welcome them in, because everybody's got it.
What a gift. Maybe you're not as lonely or alone or solitary as you think if you just let that all in.
Right.
Why not? I can't disprove it. I can't prove it. All I know is that's how I feel.
Yeah.
And I just keep saying to myself, how could you hate that? How could you hate that? What do we do about all this hate? I am constantly chronically hurting because of something that happened to me in March. I experienced in my adulthood, like the first time in a long time, and I'm talking decades, racial aggression towards me. I was assaulted by someone in my neighborhood, which I consider safe, in the East Village, Stuytown, and an older woman coming up to me and calling me, and I hate this word, and I never say it, but I say it this time and never repeat it as much as I cannot repeat it. She came up to me and said, "Are you Chinese, you chink?" I couldn't believe it. I was like, I'm in New York City. I haven't heard that word since 1986, maybe. And she was so toxic with the hate that she came at me with that you both know my vibe. It was so toxic that it riled up violence in me. And I wanted to physically shove her to the ground. I stopped myself because I said, do not be that person shoving this old woman to the ground on camera, because you are going to get in trouble. So instead, I walked up to her and I said, get the fuck out of my face. Even that, what it takes for someone like me to speak to an elder like that is a lot, a lot. I walked home literally a block from my apartment door. I walked home and I thought, oh, how ugly, what an ugly aura, what an ugly soul. But I'm so glad I spoke up for myself. I feel so strong. It took me 2 weeks to cry. Like, I had to kind of understand what that was. It was so shocking, but I felt so like empowered, but I wasn't. And at that 2-week mark, when I started to cry, literally streaming tears, I was like, ugh. I wasn't crying about myself more than I was crying about, once school starts, these young Asian American youth are going to experience bullying that they can't even predict from people who they thought were safe. That hate. And I'm in a place now where I'm like, I don't know what to do about it. I literally feel like I kind of, when that happened to me, I'm starting to identify it in the last few weeks that it affected my creative voice.
Right.
Because if the last powerful thing I got to put out there was something so ugly, something shifted in me. And I started to think like, I was starting projects and like stopping and just really frozen in myself, and because of hate. And I sat back and I said to myself, just figure out the way around this. Just figure out a way around this, because obviously this is information. She doesn't know you. She doesn't think you are a bad person. But I was like, doesn't matter. She's walking around hurting people. And like, what do I do? And what do I do for other people who are like me, who are going to experience this? And I couldn't speak. I really just couldn't talk about this. A lot of my friends didn't even know this happened. I'm only starting to really talk about it in the last few weeks. So I said, let me listen to myself. What fun tools can I get to start listening to myself so that I can start redirect this feeling of hate that kind of like froze me? And I got this funny tool. This is where this gets fun.
All right, we're ready.
You ready?
Yeah.
Because I needed to start listening to myself again, and just to balance.
Hikira, are you ready for this tool, honey?
I got this.
Yeah. Stethoscope.
Yeah. So I had been starting my percussion projects listening to my heartbeat first.
Damn.
And I'm getting goosebumps because I would start and getting to know my actual heartbeat. It's so cool.
It's so beautiful.
Now,
forget how beautiful
this is the second time in my life that I've reconnected with myself via my heartbeat this time.
Right.
And 5 years ago, after my double mastectomy, and I realized the most beautiful thing about having lost my breasts was that I was able to feel my heart beating through a thinner layer of skin, and I could feel it. I feel it now. It's like thumping so hard. I never got to feel that before.
Right.
So that was like, oh. So I'm starting my projects now listening to my heartbeat, my music projects. And I'm using it as the guide.
Can you put the stethoscope on and put your heart by the microphone? Can we hear your heart?
Well, I wonder. Let me see. Well, here's the microphone on this thing. I don't know.
I don't know. The Zoom mic.
Well, I'll at the very least mimic it.
Yeah, come on, let's just mimic it at least so we know the timing.
Okay, yeah, because that's really. Oh my God, I have no more heartbeat.
Oh, stop, please.
All right, I'm putting the mic to it, but I don't think you're gonna hear it. But I'll.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Boom,
Boom, boom, boom, boom, boom, boom, boom.
A little fast.
Happy to be here.
Then I'm programming my beat, starting with it. A lot of it changes from there, but that's now my starting point. And I think that's pretty cool, because if there's one thing I'm really good at is jujitsuing some shitty thing that happens to me into something pretty damn powerful and awesome.
Yeah.
Not that I want to ever be grateful for these shitty things that come to me, but that power that comes to me, if I can flip it into something that's like, screw you, then I don't know how else to deal with it, because I can't control people like that. I can't control her. She came like that from decades. Like the fact that she had that, that's a word that has not been in my consciousness for decades. The fact that she had it so easily on her tongue, blah, 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 to my face. Like,
yeah,
it's close to me.
It's something from God. In New Zealand, they would use it in the 60s. I was born in the 60s, and I remember it was a term used for, oh my God, so incredible, for Chinese takeout. Yeah.
Interesting.
I know. Well, New Zealand.
This is important, and this is my way of squashing hate. So that said, I'm going to read a piece from my friend Charles Waters, an amazing poet friend of mine, and Irene Lathan, amazing poet friend of his, and this illustrator Meredith Amini, this amazing book called Dictionary for a Better World.
Okay.
I mean, everyone must get this. It's so touching. And not just because I'm in the thank yous, but I am. But I'm reading this piece that I didn't ask permission to read out loud, but to balance it, I'll say everyone buy a copy of the book. I'm going to read this piece called Epitaph for Hate. And I think that's just so wonderful. It's like, yeah, if hate were to just die and go away, what would its epitaph be? Epitaph for hate. Here lies fear of what's different, quiet oppression, invisible walls, and microaggression. Forever gone, police brutality, discrimination, snap judgments based on misinformation. Here lies hate. May unity swallow the grave.
Can we just have the name of the poet again and the name of the book so we can make sure that everybody got that? That's an incredibly good piece of work.
I'm guessing this one's by Irene Lathan. It's Irene Latham and Charles Waters both compiled this book.
Right.
Dictionary for a Better World. And with that spread actually comes one more thing I'm going to read, a quote from George Washington Carver. Fear of something is at the root of hate for others, and hate will eventually destroy the hater. Boom!
Exactly.
I mean,
hey, T-shirts, hate will eventually destroy the hater. We need the T-shirts. Right.
I mean, it is, because their actual lives are lived like that.
Yeah.
A life lived like that is a destroyed life.
Yeah, there is no doubt about it. So, ladies and gentlemen,
happy notes.
After encapsulating love and hate, and now we just want a T-shirt that has that last quote, because we're going to be fighting a lot of it. We're going to be fighting a lot of it over the next few months. We're all aware of that. Our mystery glitter bomber is still on his way. God bless him. So what we're going to do is, I have a little song that I've been writing. It's another one of my protest songs. Cynthia, DJ Cherish The Luv, is going to introduce me and talk for a minute while I set up. And we're going to jump ahead and do this noisy protest song before Glitter Bomber M.R. Robinson arrives, and then we're ending tonight with a really beautiful dance film from 1977, a very graceful and calming way with some nudity.
Oh, nudity, okay.
Yeah, that keeps you all hooked. For those of you falling asleep, I did say the word semi-nudity from 1977.
Semi-nudity, come on, we're adults here.
Under gauze. I checked it with the Facebook laws, it's under gauze.
I'm psyched that you're doing a new song idea.
All right, so
Well,
give me
here
a
we
sec.
are.
Cynthia, talk away while I just set up my, I'll be.
Okay, Carrie Beehan, who's muted herself. Multimedia performance artist spearheading AITQR, Immigrant Artist Theater Group. Carrie Beehan combines music, paint, performance, and video. She's worked as a news and documentary editor for German television in Berlin, and then emerged as a performer and recording artist with her first recording contract in 1998. Yeah, so Carrie, are you all set up? By the way, your studio is looking really extra sexy every week.
I'm almost set up. Can you like talk for like another 50 seconds, please?
For 50 seconds. Yeah, I want to say just thank you for letting me express everything I just did. I hadn't really, put that out in the public that way, and it all gelled together. I actually didn't even realize that there was that poem until about 2 hours ago when I opened to the spread, and I was like, well. Isn't that funny how that happens?
Can I say something about hate?
Yes.
In Brazil, we have many popular sayings, and one of them is that hate is a poison you take wishing others to die.
Isn't that? Uh-huh.
It is because they grow bitter and they shrivel and they become shriven and nasty.
Yes.
And they start sounding like that.
Nasty and riddled with hate.
Ooh.
Not our date. Hard to pick the bits off the ground when they're stuck with the glue more profound than the quick fix-it stick or the fast drying heat-tempered grip. Policies they can't even wedge with a sickle, hammer or dredge, 'cause old glue keeps them stuck, and they smile back with war-painted glee. Rubber bullets, fire, milk and gas. In this revolution, who wears the mask? Am I scared to take mine off this fast? But I walk with the fire, milk, gas, stink, burnt tires, yeah. Hard to pick your friends off the ground when they're tied with their hands lying down. But this battle is vice, so they kettle you in, then throw soft packs of ice. Rubber bullets, fire, milk and gas. In this revolution, who wears the mask? And there's so much more privilege, don't grasp. But I stand with the fire, milk, gas, stink, burnt tire. Rubber, milk, fire and gas. In this revolution, illusion. Who wears the mask? Am I scared to take mine off and ask? But I walk with the fire, milk, gas, stink, burn, tire. Thank you.
Yeah, cool, cool. That was great, great.
Thank you.
So happy you did this piece. This is good. Thank you.
Yeah. They usually. Oh, hang on a minute. Let's leave the family behind. Right, it's me again. I left that talking about all your mutual personalities.
I was gonna say that was your they.
15 of them. Yeah. So where did I put my phone? Because we have to see if glitter bombs turned up or whether we are going to our beautiful 1970s semi-nudity film. Hold on.
I love these intimate concerts just for us, right?
I can't find the phone to find out whether MR's turned up or not. So you know what? He either turns up or he doesn't, but we're going to move on to a film from 1977. So let's jump down to Bonnie Stein and Sherry Erskine. It's a film. It's called Gauze in the Bowl. It was made in 1978. And this is an excerpt. It's 13 minutes long, and this is a 7-minute excerpt. The choreography and performance collaboration is with Bonnie Sue Stein, Arts Encounter Theatre Troupe and guest videographer Roger Glucken, and percussion soundtrack by Tatsuka Natatani. Now, Sherry Erskine's work is lens-based media investigating myth-making and Jungian psychology through experimental portraiture. She does some really amazing photographic work. Bonnie Sue Stein is a producer, director, performer, writer, administrator, executive director of the not-for-profit Go Productions. And in the 1970s, Bonnie created and choreographed a number of video art projects and began this lifelong collaboration with Sherry Erskine. So we're really lucky to have this film tonight. So give me a minute. I'm just going to pop over and I'm going to share the screen. Where's that little share screen? Here we go.
You're still on mute.
We've lost Carrie.
She's speechless.
I'll just fill in the dialogue when she moves her mouth. Hi, Cherish is the best.
Well, that is true, actually.
I was just saying the dance piece, just the performance piece, felt strangely in tune with the pandemic and the masks that we're wearing, and trying to navigate the streets at the moment and avoid people, and you get bumped, or you're trying to avoid one person and you nearly bump into somebody else, and everybody's sort of like going like this to get away from each other. It felt very, I resonated so much with the movement and that.
I feel what you're saying for sure.
Yeah.
The sheathing on everyone is like how I'm feeling like I have a force field.
Yeah.
You know, but maybe it's just psychological. I don't know.
Well, I would say that we've lost our precious glitter bomber because I can't find my phone and he's messaged me on the phone. So I'm just going to quickly look for my phone, and dear Cherish the Luv, you're going to have to give us another little ditty while I quickly grab the phone.
Okay,
just one.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, when I was thinking about that movement piece, I also realized I need more free movement in this life. You know all about that, Kika. Tell me what motivates your movement.
It's interesting because I've always been very awkward, like body-wise. And in New York, one of the things that I've done for survival was art modeling. And people, when I'm on the model stand, people ask me, "Are you a dancer?" I'm like, "No, I failed dance in college." So,
how interesting.
And I always think about people's movements. And when I got hired by this painter that I've been working with for 15 years, as a model, you have to stand still. And after our first interview, he said, "Oh, no, you're going to be working for me. I like the way you move." And I'm like, "But I'm supposed to stand still here." And he said, "No, you can fit into places." So I'm always observing people on the street and the way they move. The gait is also like in technology trends. There are machines that can recognize you by your gait, by the way you walk.
Interesting.
And that film actually brought me a lot to that sensation of ethereal. How do you, the aura that you have projected, the intentions you have projected outside of you, and how the extent of your air, the air that you exude when you move, how much do you move when your body moves, like how much physical atoms are in connection with interaction with other people.
Or how about even how little interaction and how little you move and how little. That's interesting too.
Right.
But I just think that's so fascinating.
Guess who?
Here. Glitter bomb.
Glitter bomber always turns up at the end of shows. It's just how he does things. It's how he rolls.
Glitter bomber's here. I think that means I need to read your intro.
I wonder, yeah, we will. Yeah, there he is. Is he there? Hello, Glitter Bomber. All right, we're going to read your intro. But first of all, tell us, you're only 4 days, 5 hours, and 38 seconds late. Where were you?
Oh, well, my friend here could tell all the stories. But I am in the great reaches of upstate New York.
Right.
Past the Adirondack Mountains, on the frontier of Canada, where I thought I would be able to get away from the noise from the orange orangutan, but unfortunately it's almost like the sound reverberates through those hills and it just amplifies.
Right. Well, it's beautiful to see you. Thank you.
It's beautiful to see you too, and I'm happy to be away from the city for a brief moment, helping my parents pack up a home of 32 years.
Oh, wow.
And yeah.
I'm going to do some brief introductions. DJ Cherish the Luv. This is Michael Glitter Bomber Robinson.
I found this piece of paper on the floor that had all your info on it, so I'm going to read it. Michael Glitterbomb Robinson. Michael is a product designer, social entrepreneur, and quote, glitter bomber. I need to know what this is. I've said it 3 times now. Whose interests and work are at the intersection of business, innovation, and community service. Michael and Carrie were in a band together back in 2011, and they met as neighbors. Oh my gosh. What apartment were you?
He was beneath me, and he and his partner used to hear me.
It was beneath me.
He and his partner used to hear me yelling at certain people, and they would like thump the roof, and then they'd come up and attempt to rescue me, and oh my God, or I'd be going down there to rescue one of them. We were a very interactive family.
We were super interactive. I remember one morning waking up, hearing a very rhythmic thumping.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh, hello.
And I knew that Carrie had rhythm. I knew that she made music. But I mean, this was really rhythmic. And I mean, this was the time of the morning. I don't know if about other people's intimate lives, but personally, I'm a morning person myself. But, you know, this kind of kept going, and we're wondering, wow, Carrie, very interesting. It stops about maybe 20 minutes later, and I'm staring at the ceiling going, what in the world? And about a few days pass, and I think, Carrie, Saturday morning. She said, oh, you mean my exercise routine? I said, your exercise routine?
Yeah, that's a way to put it.
I had a trampoline. I was trampolining.
You had a trampoline. What was his name?
I had a mini tramp, and I was trampolining, and they thought I was having a great time in bed. And that's why my rhythm was, and I was so spot on. They were like, damn, she missed a minute.
Damn, you and your tramp.
That's tramp.
But those days are done because the floors here are really, really tired and saggy wood. And if you put a trampoline on them now, you would just go straight through the holes.
Through the vortex.
But no, we have some stories. We have some neighborhood stories to tell. And band days. We had a very short-lived but very outrageous band. So that was a lot of fun. Michael, do you have anything specific you're going to share with us this evening? We've been on the subjects of hate and, race-based hate. I'm sorry, it came up and we went there. We've been on the subject of Brazil. Kika, who you know so well, Kika and Michael give each other a hug. Kika was filling us in on the situation in Brazil currently and what's going on there, and also with her father, who's living off the land with his wife. Yeah. And I did a protest song called Rubber Bullets, Milk Sting and Gas, which you missed my debut, but that was always our career, wasn't it? You were always missing my debuts.
But I showed up to just...
You showed up, yeah.
I showed up to throw the glitter.
So what you got for us tonight, and tell them what a glitter bomber is before Cynthia loses her mind, because she's got no idea what
oh my gosh, a glitter bomber.
And I have to pick up Cleo because she can hear your voice. Hang on.
So glitter bombing was really my role in the band. And so it's both a physical role and kind of an approach to things. So my role very much was to add a little bit of, I would say, I can't say glitz because Carrie definitely brought the glitz to the band, but I was bringing a little bit of plus. That was my name in the band. So glitter bombing was my role. So when you think it's just, you know, these two people on stage and they're singing away, suddenly they part and out comes Plus in his their fabulous
wigs. Their wigs. You should have seen
their wigs. And I'm ashamed I'm not bringing the wig game today, but there's plenty of photo evidence for everyone. So, but glitter bombing also, we kind of turned it into a verb, not, I mean, more of a verb, more of a way of thinking, a way of showing up sometimes unexpectedly, but also showing up really boldly. So glitter bombing is also, you know, I don't know if people remember the stories of this young entrepreneur who was pretty fed up with a lot of our decision makers, the lawmakers in Washington, and decided to mail some Congress people and some senators packages filled with glitter, literally. So when they opened the package, it would just, the glitter would explode. And it's that bold approach that I like to say, you know, and I'm sure this person actually takes for their own selves as the glitter bomber.
And do you apply that these days into your business world? Your glitter bomber approach?
And thank you, Black Lives Matter, for letting me bring all that glitter, that amping up that glitter. Yeah, so I'm probably not going to talk about, hate. The only thing that I'll give to that is that I wonder how abundant we can be. And when I think about abundance, it's really the anti-hate. When I think about abundance, the immediate thing in my mind comes to the Black transgender march, and literally looking up DeKalb Avenue all the way from Flatbush up to the park, and literally seeing a sea of people taking the street. And that's abundant, that's anti-hate. I also think about turning shit off, honestly, and I apologize. Is this my, can I have my, is this the 7 minutes?
No, you can, you're the closing of the show, so you can have some fun with this.
Yeah, and I also think, you know, it's a recent thought, but I'm home with my parents. You know, this is home, and the news is on 24/7 on the big flat screen TV. And all the heads, the talking heads this morning on CNN or MSNBC, really were just talking in circles. They weren't trying to solve a problem, because it's not within their realm to try to solve problems. It's not within their realm to give people examples. It's not within their realm, examples that engender hope. It's not within their realm to be abundant. Their realm is to make some money off of people's anxieties, to keep people hooked on that anxiety, to make people just tacitly agree, just say, yes, that makes sense. Because that, I think, is in line with my values. And that's on all sides of the fence. Unfortunately, there's only two sides right now. I wish there were more in the public space, or people who have a platform or a microphone that's louder than somebody else's. So turning it off is important. And when you turn it off, you allow other things in. So today, I took a big part of my time to turn it off, and I went on a very, very long bike ride. Came back, helped out a little bit, but just that moment of turning it off brought everything back, made everything more abundant. The other things that are more important. Finding solutions is where it's at. Finding solutions, putting things on paper, just put it down, make it. If you don't see it, do it. Because the world is really full of people right now who like to, unfortunately, make a living on anxiety and fear. So turn that shit off. Go throw some glitter somewhere.
And we need
Surprise someone.
t-shirts. More t-shirts. That's the second theme tonight. Turn that shit off, right?
Turn that shit off. Turn it off.
Michael, you're with your parents. They're leaving their home after 32 years.
Yeah. Yeah. 32 years. 32
some
years.
Emotion. That's some
That's
emotion
a
you're
lot.
dealing with.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they're very happy to leave. They're both retired. So I think one more winter in upstate New York, it's one too many. But yeah, 32 years has a lot of gravity. It's very interesting as my parents are keeping this in show condition, right? So you're inviting people into a space that's almost been, for lack of a better term, stripped to its bare. And so it's interesting. It's interesting coming into that space and also seeing your parents in that space within their routine. Everything except for that damn TV.
Right, I get it.
The TV.
Man, don't mess with the TV. If you want to keep your head, don't mess with the TV.
Don't mess with it. Don't mess with it. And I'm sure it's going to be the last thing taken out.
Don't even point at it. You're asking for trouble with a big T.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, a lot of gravity. It's 32 years, but at the same time, I'm excited for their new start and where they want to go, right? Last night, it was really a blessing. Actually, my parents were talking about what they're looking forward to in terms of where they're going and what they would like to build or what they would like to see. So that ability to dream is awesome. It's restorative. And so beautiful. We literally hopped in a car last night. My mom was like, I want to go look at this house because this house has been here and it kind of looks like what I want to build. So we hopped in the car. We literally pulled up to this house and the tenants were home. And my mom got out and she introduced herself. I came with her. And lo and behold, I mean, they were this beautiful gay couple that had lived in this house. They had bought it from someone who hadn't finished the house was their project. They hadn't finished it. They took it over and they had really created a beautiful space that was really inspiring. And it was really amazing to make that connection. And again, my parents have been here for 32 years. They didn't know them. They hadn't known them. They had just seen the house. And it's almost like at this time, it's almost like, and I think my mother said this, she the filter is off. And I think the filter is off in a lot of ways, right? So I don't have to rehash that, but to say, using this as an opportunity also to learn new things, introduce new things, make new connections, dream, but also express your dream to other people.
Yes.
Right? Like, it's like a really amazing time. So.
I'm always expressing my dreams to Cynthia. She's heard so many of them. She's like, God. Michael, this is exactly what Pandem.Mic was meant for. It's exactly for this safe place to be able to come and express yourself during a pandemic and talk openly and honestly about what's going on, because it's easier to hide behind the veneer of performing a song or doing a piece, but when we actually have to get right down to the wire, it's really, really empowering to just share these intimate moments. I'm so full of gratitude for you for actually getting here, turning up. I dropped my phone. You couldn't find me. Da 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 da. Da. And turning up while you're going through something like this with your parents. And I'd just like to really thank you for that very open dialogue, standing, I'm assuming, in your parents' hallway somewhere. So I think
I'm
it's really
actually,
powerful.
I could give you a tour, but it's, so I have this little friend.
Can we see the TV?
Oh no, we're not, no, we're not going there. We're not going there.
You know I'm a rebel. You know I'm trouble.
You know I'm not going there. No, and thank you, Carrie, for inviting me. Thank you for having me on, and thank you for seeing me as well.
Oh, how could I
I
miss you,
think
darling? Yeah.
this is the beauty of our connection, is your ability to know Michael. You know me better than I know myself most of the time. And I think that's what, maybe that's what this moment is all about, is actually seeing each other and being really honest.
Yeah, it's sharing, Kika sharing, ladies, turn your mics on. Kika sharing your father's, what he's going through right now. And knowing him as this incredible artist that's willing to live without very much so that he can just pursue his art and live off the land and live outside the city and live outside the, not outside the law, but outside the rules. You know, he's phenomenal. And you're an adventurer. You used to travel the world, and you will get back to it. And did you Cherish the Luv, who's now, she's got a stethoscope and she's in a dark cavern. Michael, be warned, she's got a stethoscope and she might try to flip it through the gallery window of the Zoom box into you. There it is, I can see the reflection.
Can I say one more thing that while you all were talking came to my mind about Cherish the Luv, talking about transforming something negative into good, and Michael being the glitter bomber. It reminded me, and then the story of my father in Brazil reminded me of a friend of mine whose father was gay, and he had gotten AIDS in the end of the 80s. And she was a child, and she asked him, "Daddy, are you going to die?" And he said, "Oh, honey, gay men never die. They turn into glitter."
Oh, no.
So whenever you see glitter, know that I will be there in the shine.
Oh, I just got,
Oh,
I just
wow.
got goosebumps. Oh my,
Isn't that
goosebumps.
sweet?
Wow.
Term. Gosh.
Yeah.
That is stunning.
Oh, that's spectacular. What a beautiful father.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
So
Yeah.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank you all. We have gone 16 minutes over time. And how glorious that was.
Lucky people.
I know.
Rebel.
For Michael, this is on replay on, it's going to actually go up to YouTube, but it's on replay already on Facebook pages, but I'll send it to YouTube because we had some hysterical moments while you weren't here. And you do have to check out the stethoscope.
I do.
She's got a
I
real one.
do.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Thank you from heart. This is a monthly occurrence. We have our mini mics, AITQR mini mics, which you've all involved with individual interviews, and I'm continuing those. Check out Robert Knightley, the criminal defense lawyer that I'm currently into the second interview with him. He's got some stories. He's our AITQR mini mic, so look at that. And I thank Cynthia, she's our new co-host. Thank you, Cynthia. And Kika, I thank you so much for your contribution tonight. And Michael, I'm just gobsmacked you made it. So super appreciative.
Gotta show up, right?
Right?
Gotta show up.
Yeah, we do. These days we do. So